Nvidia's getting ready to launch their laptops.
They're buying more RAM facilities.
And Intel's about to launch the thing that people keep telling them they should. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host.
I'm Reece.
And we're going to be going over the hottest tech news we can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast. Reece? Should we come up with something new? This Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, we'll think over the whole intro thing while we also think over what the N1X chip is going to be like coming out from Nvidia allegedly later this quarter. Reports are coming in that Nvidia, while they missed their CES announcement timeline that was initially suspected, is still on track to hit the Q1 2026 timeframe, especially in line with the new Windows 11 update that is going to be exclusively for ARM chips.
Surprise.
It is a surprise. This is the first time a major update has been excluding hardware. The 26H1 is going to be pretty much only for the Snapdragon Elite 2s and the Nvidia N1Xs and the N1s that are supposed to be coming out. So it looks like Nvidia is going to have software to back up their hardware. And I'm wondering, what if Intel launching Panther, like really good integrated graphics, Nvidia comes out with theirs, and AMD's the laggard.
Whoa.
They're the ones who are actually not so impressive in integrated graphics by the middle of this year, and they could have done something, but they decided to launch AI 400 instead. Maybe. Well, set your calendars for at least the end of March to see if this was actually correct. But while you're working on your calendars, definitely use today's video sponsor. New year, new things to add to your schedule. And yes, it is 2026 now. Between struggling to properly date things and the business that follows the holiday season, you might need some help keeping yourself on track. And lucky for you, today's sponsor, Akaflow, has made it their job to organize and streamline even your craziest workflow. An easy way to start getting yourself organized with Akaflow is through time blocking. This is pretty much their bread and butter. By just dragging and dropping, you can assign specific amounts of time to all the tasks you need to complete, getting a real visual understanding of what your day is going to look like. If your workflow is extra wild, or maybe you just want to automate a little more, Akaflow has an AI copilot that can lend a hand. Learning from your habits, your copilot is able to offer you intelligent suggestions on how to improve your workflow. Akaflow's AI copilot can even auto-assign tasks, taking your personal preferences into account. It's kind of like having a second you to help out when your inbox gets super flooded. With everything sorted and assigned, you can resume time blocking as usual. At this point, you might be wondering, how does Akaflow even know what my schedule is? Easy. The universal inbox, your work Gmail, your personal Gmail, your Slack, or your other favorite productivity tools. All your messages, emails, and whatever else are in one central place that can all be managed and organized within Akaflow. Whether it's dinner plans with your buds, the kids' soccer game, or a meeting that could probably have been an email, it's all there, ready to be planned. Akaflow is also always helping you improve your workflow, not just manage it. With the stats feature, you can see a breakdown of how many of a certain task you completed in a certain amount of time. Everything is displayed as a percentage of your day, so you can visualize areas where you can try to improve or cut down further on the amount of time allotted for a certain task. Give Akaflow a try and step up your productivity via my custom link in the description below. Akaflow even offers a personal onboarding session, so you can be sure you're using the program to the fullest. Big thanks to Akaflow for sponsoring. Well, you can also put it on your calendar how long you're going to have to wait for the RAM issue to be abated. Micron coming out and announcing that they are buying a fab from PSMC in Taiwan to help increase their DRAM output. So instead of building a new factory, they're purchasing one. But unfortunately, the purchase of the P5 fab means that it won't contribute meaningful DRAM wafer output until the second half of next year. So even in purchasing, it still takes a while for all of this kind of stuff to ramp up. The production facilities are just not there. Micron's also trying to build stuff that likely won't also have any results until 2028. So this is looking to be rough for quite some time, even if they're trying to gobble up other production facilities. Not a good time for any of you. And, you know, a lot of you think that this is part of the conspiracy to move everything onto the cloud. Xbox is right there with you, with them allegedly going to be coming out with an ad-supported access tier to Xbox Cloud Gaming sometime soon. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean free. It means ad-supported. So it could be cheaper with also ads. It could also be free with ads, kind of like what ChatGPT is doing. But in case you want to play it on your Samsung smart fridge, Xbox Cloud Gaming's the way to go.
I'm curious if it's going to be banner ads or just full screen.
Like you have to watch an ad before you can play the game. That could be a thing.
That's what I'm expecting.
And then it's like every half hour or an hour you have to watch another one, and it automatically pauses your gameplay. That's going to be great. People are really going to jump onto that. Microsoft's doing so great. Everybody
love it.
Everything's supposed to be moving on to the cloud. You're not supposed to access physical hardware anymore. And Microsoft's definitely the company to push that. This is going to go over super well for everybody. But speaking of saving some cash, Beardman can do it for you.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals on the internet. And here's your first deal. We have the Samsung P9 Express Micro SD Express with the 512 gig variant going for $79.99, making it $40 off. This only works on the Switch 2 currently. I think that's the only device that can currently use it. But hey, if you need one for your Switch 2, here you go. But then next up, we have the Elgato 4KX. This 4K 144 Hz external capture card going for $199.99, making it $50 off. And then lastly, we have this MSI Mag 27-inch 1440p 360 Hz QD OLED gaming monitor going for $559.99 with included promo code, making it $90 off. And hey, with that, the deals are done. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, hand your back to us for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, turns out Panther Lake might not be such a good deal because we're getting pricing of the Galaxy Book 6 Pros coming out in Korea, and the pricing is being compared to the Galaxy Book 5 Pros, and it's a little bit more expensive, 20% more expensive than the previous gen model, whether that's the 6 Ultra, which has both the Ultra 7 and a discrete graphics, or the Book 6 Pro, which is just the integrated graphics. Both of them are looking to be a little pricier in the noodle section, just a smidge more, 20%, give or take. What's that look like? But that's not the only pricing indication we have of Panther Lake. In fact, when Panther Lake got announced, there were already models up for pre-order. You can go on Best Buy and see the OmniBook X is $1,449. The XPS 16 and 14 are also available for over $2,000, which is significantly pricey, but unfortunately you can't compare the XPS line to a previous gen because Dell canceled the XPS line a year ago, so we don't have the numbers for that. But if you compare the OmniBook X at $1,449, the previous gen is currently on sale for $799, launched at $1,299. It is a little bit more expensive, about that 10 to 15% mark, so it does look like it's going to be costing everybody a little bit more. But then you have things like the Prestige 14, which has an Ultra X7 for $1,300.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily super high priced, and also remember these do have RAM, so the money might not be going to necessarily Intel's cost to produce the chips, but rather just the general cost of computer building in general. So kind of a struggle.
Yeah, weird one to compare.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strain right now, but in case you want to build a new desktop with an Intel processor, Bartlett Lake might be the one you're looking at, because we're seeing benchmarks pop up for, these are horrifically named. Intel really needs a new person in their marketing department that understands the naming conventions of how things should be. Not that necessarily AMD is any better, but the Core 7253PE. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh, absolutely awful name.
It's almost as bad as monitor names.
Yeah, it's getting rough. This 10-core CPU is performing better than the 12-core i5-14400 because it doesn't have any E-cores. It's a 10 P-core exclusive, and that's kind of the big thing of Bartlett Lake, is that it's still compatible with the LGA 1700 socket. So the 12th to 14th gen options that can actually use this new chip. So another generation, kind of still based on the same architecture, but another option for you on the same socket. And also, important factor here, that means you can use DDR4. The original launch of Alder Lake with the 12th gen CPUs allowed you to use DDR4 or DDR5, and you can update the BIOS on those DDR4 boards to potentially support Bartlett Lake. But it's not just the 10 core that's coming out there. There's also a rumored 12 core version that could be hitting, because one of the things that was kind of curious about Bartlett Lake was the fact that it was allegedly only going to be for edge and networking applications and not for consumers. But then reports started coming out that there were going to be consumer versions because everybody got so excited for it. A P-core only edition of these CPUs that actually extends the life support of your socket? Yes, please. Well, a UK-based wholesaler listing out the pricing on this, and the pricing is not necessarily good. It's very expensive, £657 for a single Core 9273 PQE. But again, pre-release pricing isn't necessarily indicative of what it's actually going to hit at retail. I can tell you if Intel launches it at this price, it's going to be dead in the water. But again, names absolutely atrocious. Core 9 273PQE, Core 9 273PE, or the Core 9 273PTE.
Bring back cool names.
Yeah, this
Man.
this sounds like a condition it has. Yeah, my CPU's got PTE. Goodness, I could be excited for the product, absolutely despise the product name.
Yeah.
Wow, rough stuff. You know, Core Ultra 7, Core Ultra X7, it's better than AI 400.
I will agree with that.
It is better than that. Still not great, but oh, goodness. And goodness to you guys in the comments yesterday. Let's see what you have to say. The Nothing saying, did it Wine stands for Wine is not an emulator? No, that's a commonly held falsehood that Linux conspiracy theorists like to push out there.
That's also why I said you're gonna make some people love that one.
Yeah, it's fake news. It's propaganda. Big Linux pushing that lie right there. And then we got the Batness saying, if a search result is sponsored, I usually automatically skip because someone paid money for it to be there.
Honestly, I kind of do the same. Like, I subconsciously do it. I put in my search results, I know what I'm looking for, and I just kind of automatically scroll past. I don't even think about it, to be
Your
fair.
response is way different than mine was going to be. I was going to have a smart ass. That's what sponsored means. If a search result is sponsored, you skip it because someone paid money for it to be there. 1 equals 1 there. That's how I read it. But Reece had the more generous take on what's going on there. And then we got OG Professor Farnsworth saying, if you can overclock the 9070, then you could also overclock the XT as well. Even better value? Probably not. Thinking back, saving $150 and only losing a couple frames does seem sensible. Oh well, already bought it. So one of the things we found out in our testing of trying to get the 9070 pushed is that when you push the 9070, it gets to the upper limits of what the XT can do because it's the same chip roughly. It has fewer compute units, but it doesn't look like the XT has all that much wiggle room. So we found that even in overclocking the XT, the best versions of the non-XT could get very, very close. So the overclocking value that you got from the 9070 XT didn't do enough to separate it from the extra value that you're getting from the 9070. So it is a good thought, but what we found was that the 9070 XT is kind of already at the upper limits of what it can achieve. And we tested like 3 different version. It wasn't just one and we couldn't push it that far. Like we had multiple versions that we were just like, oh, nope, this is the XT's already clocked real fast. We're gonna clock on out of here. Hotness is over. We'll see you back here for more of the hottest tech news later.